right to choose who their leaders will be. In this democracy, Mr. President, you were given the mandate for the last 5 years to be the commander-in-chief, to hold the highest office of the land. But to come to my district and basically command my people, your people, not to vote for me because you said so, is not democratic. The people have a choice. The candidate that you came to promote yesterday has been the member of parliament for Mwandi for the last 5 years. The people of Mwandi had very high expectations, Mr. President, and they have been thoroughly disappointed. 2 months ago, Mr. President, you called me. So I thought that our conversation was one that was had in private, that none of what we discussed was going to make it to social media. But alas, you, Mr. President, mentioned our phone calls. Mr. President, my answer has not changed. My answer is still no. I would like to tell the nation and the world at large that having a one-sided conversation is not good enough. You should have told the people yesterday what it is you offered me that I said no to. I don't know many people who would have said no to you, even just based off on the fact that you are the president of this republic. I support the people of Mwandi and everything that they believe in. Mr. President, I will have to repeat what I said to you, to the country. I am a politician. I seek this office because of servitude. I want to be the leader that my people expect me to be. Not one person that can be bought or sold. You gave me a guarantee that should I withdraw my candidature, sir, this was already after nominations. You said, should I withdraw my candidature, you would include me in the people that will be appointed because I'm a youth and because I'm a woman. You guaranteed me to say that when you form government, you will appoint me. You guaranteed that I should join the national mobilization team, your campaign team, sir. All these things do not amount to the love I have for the people of Mwandi. I must say, Zambia, that this was a very, very tempting offer. In this economy, I don't know that many people who would have said no. Mr. President, you reached out to my father. Before you talked to me, you asked my father to soften me up. And his answer was, you are talking about a grown woman who can make her own decisions. you speak with her. Today, Mr. President, I have exercised my constitutional right to belong to an independent faction that stands for the people. We are tired of partisan politics.
President of the country calls you, you refuse. That young lady, I called her, said, don't stand as an independent. Support Sefulo here. Support Kakoma. She refused. Now, if the president calls a member of the party, I'm president of UPND, I call a member that let's follow the decision of the party, she refuses. President of the country calls you, you refuse. President of the country calls you, you refuse. That young lady, I called her, said, don't stand as an independent. Support Sefulo here. Support Kakoma. She refused. Now, if the president calls a member of the party, I'm president of UPND, I call a member that let's follow the decision of the party, she refuses. President of the country calls you, you refuse. Kono wakenda mwakambe, wena. Kiskaman wena. Ah? Banana bakataza. Wakataza manana, wakataza. Don't vote for her. Mutwile. Don't vote for her. Mutwile marozbaruna. Niha nile.
It's Friday, the 31st of July 2026. We are just 13 days away before Zambia holds its presidential, parliamentary, and local government elections. And on this program, we use the opportunity to review events, project who the winners may be, discuss the issues that have risen in this campaign period. We are in what we are calling the last mile. On this program today, I'm expected to have two guests. One guest has already arrived, and that's my dear brother, Isaac Mwanza. Isaac Mwanza is a prolific, litigator in our courts of law. He takes every item of controversy, not to the podiums of public debate, not to the podiums of, podcast or other discussions. He takes matters to the courts of law. If there's any other person that I've known who's exemplary and litigious, is Isaac Mwanza. And litigious in the good sense. The way Winter Kabimba was, and he took every matter that was controversial, that was constitutional, that was legal. He wanted, court interpretation. And Isaac Mwanza has helped in the jurisprudence of our countries. In the studio with us, then I'm supposed to have Professor Dr. Gilbert Kalonde with me, and he's supposed to help with the analysis. Why is Isaac here? There are three key issues, the development in the country, and that's why I even started with that statement by Iris Kaingu. She's an independent candidate, and she was being persuaded by the president to stand down. And the president even offered her, as you heard in the comments, a lot of things for her to stand down as an independent in the Mwandi constituency election. For me, I've declared that as a corrupt offer, and it gives us a window to what is happening to the other independent candidates. It's for this reason that one of the hallmarks, one of the issues that the European Union Observer Mission is investigating, other than how free and fair our electoral processes, is the issue of independent candidates that have withdrawn, because there is suspicion that they are being corrupted, they are being bribed, they are being enticed, they are being denied that right to participate by either cash offers, job offers, or other offers. And it's a matter of investigations by the EU. And this particular matter gives us some insights in what has been happening with the president. Is either bringing a stick or a carrot. Look what he did to Gary Nkombo. And look what he has done to the young lady, where the president goes on a podium and says, do not vote for her. Now words have power. And the man that occupies an office like that has literally, not just the campaigner, undermined the right of Iris Kaingu. But this and many more is what we are discussing. But I am saddened to learn just this afternoon that we have lost one of illustrious Zambians, a writer, poet like me, Dr. Canisius Banda. He's many things. He was spokesperson for the Ministry of Health, and he gave a face to that ministry. We haven't had a distinguished spokesperson like Dr. Canisius Banda was. He tried his politics by standing as a member of parliament in Mandevu. In 2011, he stood at a wrong time. He stood on the MMD ticket, and there was a window of change at the time. Lusaka and Copperbelt were beholden to the Patriotic Front, and Michael Sata, he stood no chance there. And Jean Kapata won that seat. He didn't relent. He joined the UPND, where he rose as vice president of UPND. And, later he left UPND and he joined the Patriotic Front. And you saw that President Edgar Lungu appointed him as member of the Central Committee of the Patriotic Front, which, with whatever chaos is going on in the Patriotic Front. But you see that Dr. Canisius Banda died as a senior member of our party. And so we mourn him, for the loss. We celebrate his life. We remember him. He was many things to many people, but, he had that infectious smile, that infectious smile and that boisterous laughter. He just brought warmth into any area that he walked in. So it's a very, very sad loss, personally, for me, because he's a man that would call me and say, what a brilliant write-up you have done. What a good analysis you have done. And a man of that stature commending you, and while I admired, his pilgrim write-up, how poetic they were, how he used his words very sparingly but very powerful. He didn't write long articles like some of us, Sishu and others, write. He was a pointed writer, and he would occasionally call me and say, what an article. Or he would say, I've complimented it in my way with this article. Or I've done this article, Emmanuel. Also do your own article on the same facts, but how we compliment one another. So it's a very sad loss for all of us. Let me bring in my guest, Isaac Mwanza, and I hope that Isaac's internet will hold. We're not doing very well in Zambia. Isaac, good evening to you and welcome to the program.
Ambassador, good evening, and I'm privileged and honored to be hosted on your program, on this show, very, very important show that people are watching across the country. Thank you very much for bringing me, and let me join you in passing the tribute to the late Dr. Canisius Banda's family, that we have lost a hero in this country, somebody who loved this country so dearly. Yeah.
Thank you, Isaac. I brought you here, and I'll take advantage of your presence to explain to us what's happening in the courts of law. And there have been two major judgments today. But before I take you there are concerns around our electoral process, the campaigns. We've lost 5 lives so far. There are pockets of violence here and there, intimidation, and also the negative rhetoric in the media. In your assessment, just give us a view of the current process as Zambia goes to the polls on 13th August. What is your view? What is your feeling? And before we come to the main issue, why I brought you here.
Yeah, so I'm a chairperson of the consortium of civil society organization that comprises 12 organizations, and we are closely monitoring the electoral process, this period of the campaigns. We are going to also monitor the elections that are going to happen on the 13th of August. So for us, we think that there are pockets of violence that have happened in the country. And it's very, very unfortunate that these incidences of violence have continued to occur at this point in time. We know that the violence in an election is a legacy issue in this country. But it was more worse under the MMD administration. You remember very well when the late Michael Sata was Secretary General of the MMD. And I think we saw the Chawama violence, and from that point onwards, violence had escalated to levels that Zambians said not to it. And I think Zambians have been very, very categorical. They do not like political parties that cause loss of life to their fellow citizens. They don't like that. And that was the reason partly why the MMD regime, why the PF regime lost power. And my hope is that the UPND should have learnt a lot from that incidence of political parties losing power to ensure that their members do not engage in violence. On a good note, I think that President Hakainde Hichilema has been very categorical against the political violence ambassador. I think from the time that he took over power, he had to restrain his fellow cadres, his cadres in the party, from doing retaliation on the Patriotic Front and others that caused pain during that period. And we saw violence trying to de-escalate at some point compared to the period under the MMD and the Patriotic Front. But what is sad is that we are seeing these emerging pockets of violence where we are losing 5 lives. You know, we lost somebody just during the election day in Northwestern Province who was killed because of his political affiliation and the rumors in Northwestern Province. I think he was a permanent secretary or so. So it's very, very sad that we are seeing these pockets of violence that are happening. And I think that it's just out of conscience that we as a consortium of civil society have called on all political stakeholders. Political stakeholders, especially the ruling party and the opposition party, to ensure that no life is lost again in this election. Elections are not a matter of life and death. No, they're not a matter of life and death. People that are being killed today are people that are our relatives. They are people that are human beings. They are Zambians who deserve to live. And so we are asking the political stakeholders to exercise restraint and ensure that this election go on without any more violence that we have experienced in the past few months.
Oh, wonderful. I brought you here to discuss the developments in court. Like you stated, you lead the Consortium of Civil Society Organization for Good Governance and Constitutionalism. There's a matter in court that you had brought. First of all, you wanted an interpretation of Article 51A of the Constitution, that the person who's contesting as an independent candidate should not be a member of a political party, and that has not been a member of a political party in the last 2 months. And it appeared that many candidates could have breached, the independent candidates, this particular clause. The court has given its interpretation. Speak to the people about this.
Yes, so as a consortium, first we want to thank the court for taking time and being expeditious in the determination of this matter. You know, sometimes our courts of law, they take so much time to determine a matter. It can take 3, 4, 5 months before a matter is determined. But they are very quick to ensure that these matters are disposed of as quickly as possible. We took this matter to court to seek an interpretation because it has been uncertain in Article 51, 51A, as to when a member of parliament, when a person who belongs to a political party must resign for them to file in as independents. And rightly, the court acknowledged that this is a qualification over an independent candidate. But the bigger issue has been to when this qualification must be met. There are two limbs in the Article 50, in Article 51, Clause A of the Constitution. One limb says that a person should not belong to a political party. That's the first limb. And the second was that a person should not have been a member of a political party for at least 2 months before an election. What has the court determined? The court has determined that since the Constitution does not refer to the requirements being fulfilled at the time of filing of nominations, the relevant period is a minimum of 2 months before an election. So the court has clarified as to when these candidates must cease. But it did not end there. It actually went further to make a holding that with regards to the third question, a challenge relating to the requirement of Article 51. So when you want to challenge a person that they were a member of a political party, when they ran for office, when do you challenge that? You know, there is 7 days to challenge the nominations. The 7 days elapses immediately they file in the nominations. So what the court has said is that a challenge relating to Article 51A for independent candidates can only be brought post-elections in line with the Electoral Process Act. Means that those members of parliament who have remained not members of parliament, candidates who have remained loyal, who have remained members of the political parties, their candidature can be challenged after the elections, post the elections. This is what the court has actually held. Now, this is a very good judgment because it sets it clear now that independent candidates are very important in our electoral system. If you read in the judgment on paragraph 45 of that judgment on page J18, the court even had to refer to an authority from Dr. Churchill about these independent members of parliament, how important they are to the electoral process. And they said, the shortcomings of the party-centered elections have led to a re-examination of the role in the electoral process of independent candidates, who are perceived by most observers as the conscience of society and the voice of the silent majority. That is a very big quotation. And they have said they are also the catalyst of campaign debates on the real issues affecting the electorate. Now, this is a very good quote by the Constitutional Court. The question that we must be asking is, all the members of parliament who have gone as independents, all the candidates who have gone as independents, are they a voice for the silent majority? Are they the conscience of society? Do they promote campaign debates on the real issues affecting the electorate as opposed to the party candidates? Those are the issues here. Most of the candidates that have been adopted may not even fit in this observation by the court, because most of them were rejected by the political parties where they wanted to stand. They still believe in their political parties. Some of them have not resigned. So you have a number of cases that the commission, for instance, I can tell you this point blank, is that the National Conflict Management Committee and the district committees have been handling cases where some independents have not resigned from their political parties. They are campaigning on the basis that they are supporting either the current regime or they are campaigning as independents supporting an opposition candidate. Are they really independent candidates? Are they any different at all? That is the question.
Thank you, Isaac. Thank you, Isaac. Now, the issue before court was the constitutional provision. Number one, of key, I think, relevance here is that candidates should have resigned 2 months before they filed in their nominations. What did the court say there? And are the current independent candidates safe?
So the court has really stated it very clearly on paragraph 58 of the judgment that they need to resign 2 months before an election, because that is what the Constitution speaks to.
Now,
although the court was very clear that is a...
In this case, most of the independents didn't resign. Most of them, in fact, we learned of their departure on day of filing of nominations. What does the court say there?
So if you have not resigned 2 months before an election, you can still be challenged post the elections. So even if you win, this judgment is setting the basis of challenging those candidates that are going to win and they did not resign 2 months before an election. If you resigned on the day of an election, probably I think you could be safe. A day before an election, or the day of an election, you could be safe. But if you did not resign 2 months before an election, know that you are not safe. And this is where members of the public must be conscious of this provision, that these independent candidates who are even campaigning in the name of political parties, they still claim to belong to political parties. Once they win an election, they'll be challenged and there will be a by-election that will take place, because this judgment is clear that they should have resigned and that these challenges to nominations are going to come up post the elections that will take place. So it is up to the citizens now who are going to vote.
They were very clever that they postponed it. But what role should ECZ have played in this case? Since this is a qualification issue, when receiving nominations, shouldn't ECZ have demanded for proof that such a person who's standing as an independent candidate and were a member of a political party provide proof that they resigned 2 months before, because it's a constitutional issue? Did the court speak to that matter?
So the court actually noted the position by the Electoral Commission of Zambia. The Electoral Commission of Zambia's argument was that these candidates should have resigned at the date of filing in nominations. That was the position of the Electoral Commission of Zambia. I know that you have seen positions that have gone before the nominations and after the nominations, where the CEO issues a statement to say resign before 2 months. But when they came to court, the ECZ position was that they should have resigned at the date of filing nominations, and that it is not their duty as a commission to check who has resigned or who has not resigned. It is the duty of the people who allege that these candidates have not resigned from their political parties to challenge the candidature of these persons. So basically the court has said, ECZ, what you are supposed to be doing at this point, they have given them an option that you must set the nomination of independent candidates 2 months before an election, so that you can say which candidate belongs to a political party and which one does not belong to a political party. So that is a guidance the court has given to the commission, that next time you conduct nominations and you're expecting independents to file in, their nomination must be aligned with the Constitution. It must be done 2 months.
Thank you, Isaac. Let me just welcome Dr. Gilbert Kalonde. He introduces himself and he must have some questions for you, but he's listening in. But let me just invite him as you drink some water, then we continue with the thought. Professor, I hope that you are audible and clear. How are you, sir?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you, Ambassador?
it's very clear that the audio and video is very, very good. We have Dr. Gilbert Kalonde is an associate professor of technology education at Montana State University. He has just retired in Bozeman in Montana. You know, he came from Zambia 32 years ago. His academic pursuit focuses and involves research and teaching centered around integration of technology in schooling, in engineering, design concepts, in classroom, and in inclusive education practices. But we bring him here in his other role as a citizen doing civic duties. He's very good at commenting on matters happening in Zambia. Doc, I'm going to invite you when we allow Isaac to finish his thoughts. I just wanted to welcome you and test that the volume and video were okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Isaac, are you ready? Yeah, let me bring in Isaac so that he can finish his thoughts. So Isaac, complete your thoughts in relation to ECZ and the role, since it's a qualification issue. You were explaining that ECZ was saying it is not up to them to demand this proof that such a candidate resigned 2 months before. So, but what did the court say in response to ECZ?
So the court, what they said in response to ECZ is captured in paragraph 58 of the judgment, where they are saying that given the rationale of the select committee's rejection of an amendment to Article 51 of the Constitution, to align it with nomination rather than the election, the Electoral Commission of Zambia could have preempted the problem before us by aligning their nomination timetable for independent candidates with a 2-month constitutional deadline. Now, this is a very, very important statement. To avoid these problems where a person belongs to a political party, goes into filing nomination and resigns 1 month later, the court is saying, align your timetable for independent candidates with a 2-month constitutional deadline. So what we expect going forward is that the ECZ is going to introspect and look at this judgment and align their timetable with the constitutional requirement of a 2-month deadline, so that we do not have the problem of people just crossing the floor. People crossing and saying, I belong to a political party, but I'm going to resign in future in the next month. That's when I'll resign from a political party after I filed in as an independent candidate. So I think the guidance has been very safe with the court to the Electoral Commission of Zambia.
Thank you very much, Isaac. Let me take you to the second item we brought you in. There's another matter before court. I think the court wanted to understand the role of the running mate. You had petitioned the issue of the running mate. 110 Article 110, Sabbatical 1, Sabbatical 3 is very clear when read together with Article 52, Sabbatical 6A. The role of the running mate, I think this is historical because we lost a president in 2008, President Levi Patrick Mwanawasa, and we lost in 2014 President Michael Sata, and in both cases we went to presidential by-elections. So in 2016, I think the framers of the Constitution were very clear that by-elections were extremely disruptive. They disrupted the country, and there's a vice president who should be allowed to take over. But the proviso was that vice president must run together with the president, must be nominated together with the president, and must meet, I think, learning from what happened to Guy Scott, strict guidelines, constitutional eligibility of such a candidate. And so Zambia from 2016 has what is called a joint ticket. The president runs with a running mate. At filing of nominations, you are not eligible until you bring a running mate. So when you took this petition to court, because we have the case of Citizen First Harry Calabar, whose running mate, Moses Mawere, has withdrawn. And he has withdrawn. Dr. Brian Mushimba, Andy Ford Banda has withdrawn from as being a running mate to Dr. Brian Mushimba. And my dear sister, Reverend Given Katuta, Dr. Reverend Given Katuta, the running mate, John Nyirenda, also withdrew his participation. What is the implication of this? We thought that the court would give finality, one, to the issue of whether this ticket is valid and what happens in the case when a person resigns or withdraws. In death, we know there's supposed to be, I think, a fresh nominations. But for resignation and withdrawal, does the ticket becomes valid? Because now this candidate is running alone. So Harry Calabar is alone, Dr. Brian Mushimba is alone, and Reverend Given Katuta is alone. Give us the determination by the court and how they answered these particular constitutional provisions of 110 and Article 52.
Thank you, Ambassador. The court actually paid attention to the provisions of those in the Constitution, Article 110 and also Article 52. And in answering the question which has been puzzling the nation for some time about these candidates, the running mates, not the candidates who have resigned or withdrawn, the court made it clear. When people want to read, they should look at article paragraph 77, page number J28 of the judgment, where the court has rendered an interpretation. And in the interpretation, the court said that the question which has been put before them is that a running mate cannot resign or withdraw from an election. So whilst there has been a purported withdrawal or resigning from an election, once you have filed in your nomination together with a presidential candidate, because a running mate is not a candidate is a presidential candidate, according to the court and according to the Constitution. When you are filed in as a running mate, you are going to stick to that position until the end of at the end of an election. So you cannot come and say, I have withdrawn, I have resigned. The court saying that the question before us is that a running mate now, their answer is that the running mate cannot resign or withdraw from an election. And they even added to say that...
Now, that is peculiar. The fact remains that Moses Mawere, John Nyirenda and Andy Ford Banda have resigned. There is a court forcing their presence on the ballot. Is a court forcing them to be running mates, whatever constitutional decision they've taken?
Ambassador Mwamba, this is where I need to commend the Attorney General, especially the Solicitor General, Mashom Chen, the State Council. Their position was very different from the court. They were very different from us. That's why you can see that there was a difference, there was a divergent of viewpoint between ourselves and the state. The state were simply saying, no, you need to replace, a candidate must be replaced who has resigned. A running mate must be replaced. But in the wisdom of the court and interpreting the Constitution as a whole, they have said there are no provision in the Constitution for a running mate to resign. We as members of the public, we can take it to say, oh, they resigned. And in your introductory remarks, Ambassador Mwamba, you talked about the EU and them investigating why these candidates are resigning. Not just the parliamentary candidates, even running mates, why are they resigning? Some of the reasons why they are resigning, I can preempt that some of them are being offered jobs, nominations, to say, when you resign, we win an election, we are going to nominate you to become a member of parliament and appoint you as a minister. Now, what the court has said is that, no, you still remain on the ballot. If the presidential candidate loses, you have also lost. And in fact, the interpretation should go further. The implication here is that if Alfred Banda and all those that have resigned, my brothers who have resigned, they remain on the ballot, they are nominated. They have the Constitution does not allow a person who participated to be nominated as a minister, or to be appointed as a minister, or nominated as a member of parliament. So this is partly addressing the issue of the motivation. What is causing these candidates to resign? It is a motivation that they will be appointed to public office, they will be appointed as ministers, they will be offered a job to be nominated. And the court has said, no, you will still remain a candidate. And for me, I think that is not problematic. Because when people go into an election, we must never have jokers who today will go into an election, agree we are going to run as running mates, and tomorrow you decide to U-turn. Offering yourself for public service as a politician should be a serious matter, where you just don't wake up and decide, no, we have disagreed with this person, so I'm going to walk away. If that situation happened when we already have an election and the person has been elected, you know the issues that would have been coming up over and over again. It will be Parliament deciding, the President appointing. And we don't want such a system. So people must take politics seriously. When you are nominated as a running mate, you must take it seriously. When you are offered that you are going to become an MP, we are going to nominate you, just know that the court has said you will still be on the ballot.
Wonderful,
that nomination
wonderful.
we are talking about is gone. Yeah.
So they remain on the ballot even if they've resigned?
They remain on the ballot even if they have purportedly resigned, because in the framing of the Constitution, in the framing of the Constitution, Ambassador, there is no resigning. And that's an unfortunate aspect. So if what we need to do is to change this, is to go and amend the Constitution and address the lacunas that are in the Constitution. Yeah.
Let me bring in Dr. Kalonde. Do you have any questions for Isaac before we release Isaac? We brought him just to speak to these two key issues, the developments that have occurred in the High Court, in the Constitutional Court regarding independent candidates and running mates, and there have been those historical ruling by the court. Do you have any questions before I let Isaac go?
I have a small comment first. It sounds very funny that the running mate is still a running mate. Now, suppose that candidate, the one that appointed him as his running mate, wins the presidency, and this person has resigned. And when they win the presidency, what happens to that vice president? Does he change his position? Does he come in back and say, I am the vice president? Or what happens at that point to Isaac?
Yeah, so, Doc, the court's guidance is that they remain on the ballot. They are still running mates to these candidates. Means that when a presidential candidate is elected, also a running mate is elected. So what happens later is that if you decide to take up the position, yes, but there is no resignation. I think the court's wisdom, the court's guidance is what the law is. So here in the public domain, we are talking about, no, they resigned or they withdrew. No. Under the law does not see them as having withdrawn or resigned. So the point here is that when a presidential candidate has won, even that running mate has also been elected as vice president. If they decide to take up that position, they would still have to take up the position.
Yeah, that judgment is a bit ridiculous, and maybe we need to study it more. Now, imagine Harry Kalaba wins and Moses Mawere resigned. You are telling us Moses Mawere will be vice president of the Republic of Zambia, and there's nothing Harry Kalaba can do. You are telling me that if Dr. Brian Mushimba won today, Andy Ford Banda will be vice president, even if he had resigned, according to this judgment. A bit ridiculous, and probably this is why we're saying there should be reflections.
Not really. Not really, Ambassador. Look at it this way. When a candidate, when a vice president who has been elected, how can they be removed from office? I think that the Constitution provides a mechanism on how a vice president can be removed from office. Oh, exactly. So there could be a motion in Parliament.
Let us imagine.
Or the process has to be followed.
Yeah, let us imagine Harry Calabar wins and Parliament is dominated by UPND and NRPUP. And Moses Mawere lobbies Parliament. It means he will remain vice president. The president can't fire him. Because when an impeachment risks failing.
Of course. That's the law that we created ourselves as Zambians. And I think that this just is a reminder on why we need to do a comprehensive amendment to the Constitution. What we did in 2025 was a partial amendment to deal with the electoral issues. What we need is a comprehensive amendment to address these lacunas in the Constitution. And so Zambians, I think that from here we can learn. But there's also an issue, Ambassador Mwamba, that I have not addressed. Let me just quickly address it.
Okay.
For a presidential candidate who resigns or withdraws, what is the position of the law? The position of the law is that if you're a presidential candidate, you can resign. Like Xavier Chungu resigned. But the court is saying, even if you have resigned, your name will still remain on the ballot paper if the ballots have been printed. But the votes that you are going to gain in that election, if there are other people that are going to vote for you, you know, we have rural areas where people just say, "Inen voted our Xavier Chungu." So they will still garner a number of votes. Those votes, the court have said, they're invalid votes. You can't even use those votes to calculate a threshold of 50% plus one. So this is a clarity that has been given. This is a clarity that has been given. Yeah.
Okay. Isaac, thank you very much for coming at such a short notice. You can still remain in the debate. And I know when you open phone lines, there'll be some people that will have questions. I may have the opportunity to call you back. I noticed Dr. Kalonde wishes to ask a question. Ask, Professor, you can ask him.
The question that comes up is, we know that there are some judgments from court that are called, the court erred. Because on this matter where he's saying that the judgment was that those votes are invalid, does the Constitution say that those votes are invalid? If the Constitution doesn't say they're invalid, probably the court also could have erred, and when the court errs, then we are in a dilemma. So my concern here is the interpretation of the law by the court can also be questioned. We have seen those things happen. We've seen the presidents appointing, more especially in the Court, appointing people that they know are going to say yes to everything they choose as president. And
I see where you are going, Professor. Isaac, I think the professor is referring to the issue, of course, of judgment. The trouble with the Constitutional Court judgments, are they final? You know, we saw in the case of the eligibility case for President Edgar Lungu, where the court had determined the matter 3-4 times, and the matter kept on coming back until a determination that favored the UPND was achieved. Is that process okay? And Prof has raised a matter. The President Hakainde Hichilema has appointed about 100 judges just in the period he has been president. I think this is the highest number we've ever seen. The last one was by amendments to the courts, where the superior courts were expanded. So it became mandatory for the president to appoint new people. But prior to that, he has appointed over 100 new judges. And the legal fraternity has been questioning those appointments, especially that they didn't seem to go through the rigor and public process of appointing judges. There was no proper way. In short, in political language, the president appointed what you'd call either cadre judges or mercenary judges, but that's to the extreme. But essentially, when the process of appointing judges is not clear, even the law fraternity itself sometimes object to certain names, but the president and parliament uses a bully of numbers in parliament and achieves the appointment. There's been that issue. How much does it impact on judgments and just on the judiciary? Are you there, Isaac? Isaac, if you are listening to me...
He's frozen.
Yeah, you are frozen. What you do is just come out and re-log in. Let me pick up the conversation. We'll bring in Isaac to come and answer that question. Yes. But let me bring in Professor. Professor, welcome to the debate. We are discussing the issue of independent candidates. That angle has been dealt with by Isaac. Now let's go to the issue of both Gary Nkombo and Iris Kaingu. Let me just play a few short videos, then I pick your mind. And then we open the phone lines after that. I'll brief you of a few things that have occurred. So when the president was in Mwandi yesterday, he issued a statement against an independent candidate. So let me look for that video by the president where he spoke against an independent candidate. And then we deal with the response. The president was very strong on Kaingu. And when you are looking for a video, it disappears. But just a minute, I have a video of the president speaking against, here it is.
President of the country calls you, you refuse. That young lady, I called her, I said, don't stand as an independent. Support Sefulo here. Support Kakoma. She refused. Now, if the president calls a member of the party, I'm president of UPND, I call a member that let's follow the decision of the party, she refuses. President of the country calls you, you refuse. Kono wakenda mwakambe, wena. Kiss come on, wena. Huh? Banana wakataza. Wakataza manana, wakataza. Don't vote for her. Mutwile. Don't vote for her. Mutwile marozbaruna. Banana wakataza. Wakataza manana, wakataza. Don't vote for her. Mutwile. Don't vote for her. Mutwile marozbaruna. President of the country calls you, you refuse. That young lady, I called her, I said, don't stand as an independent. Support Sefulo here. Support Kakoma. She refused. Now, if the president calls a member of the party, I'm president of UPND, I call a member that let's follow the decision of the party, she refuses. President of the country calls you, you refuse.
Mr. President, you reached out to my father. Before you talked to me, you asked my father to soften me up. And his answer was, you are talking about a grown woman who can make her own decisions. You speak with her. Today, Mr. President, I have exercised my constitution, but alas, you, Mr. President, mentioned our phone calls. Mr. President, my answer has not changed. My answer is still no. I would like to tell the nation and the world at large that having a one-sided conversation is not good enough. You should have told the people yesterday what it is you offered me that I said no to. I don't know many people who would have said no to you, even just based off on the fact that you are the president of this republic. Mr. President, I will have to repeat what I said to you, to the country. I am a politician. I seek this office because of servitude. I want to be the leader that my people expect me to be. Not
Okay, let me bring in the team again. I think we have Isaac back. I hope we manage. Yeah. Isaac,
yeah, thank you.
You lost power. I suspect there was power failure, whatever has happened. But you heard my question about the role of judges and Professor Kalonde's concern on the appointment of judges. That didn't seem to be to follow constitutional provisions, but they were ratified by Parliament, and they are judges now. And what happens to 40 judgment? In this case, the Constitutional Court seems to be a final, court of determination.
You see, the way the court dealt with the Edgar Chagwalungu matter, the eligibility issue, was quite unfortunate. It was very unfortunate because we saw a court reversing itself or departing from what they had earlier said in this judgment. And that worries a lot of Zambians. But I'll tell you, Ambassador Mwamba, you remember very well, you were here in Zambia when we challenged the appointment of judges of the superior courts. I was the one who was leading that challenge. Do I have a problem with the current judges that are on the bench, even those that I challenged? These are the same judges that are making these decisions. They have made the decisions to say independent members of parliament should remain in office. They should have resigned. They should resign 2 months before an elections. They can be challenged. That's a very good decision. The decision that has been made today on the running mates, the state took a different position. Ourselves took a different position. ECZ took a different position. The court came to give guidance. So you can see that there is no collusion between the state and the judges as they are determining matters like these ones. These matters involve the opposition political parties. Even for the Attorney General to stand up, the Solicitor General coming to court to argue that no, these independent members of parliament should remain independent, should be candidates. These candidates can remain as they are because they have to resign 2 months before an election. They could have agreed with us to say, no, they must resign on the day they're filing in nominations. But they wanted to follow the law. And for me, I commend them for doing that. We can have differences in opinions, but what the court says finally is what makes the law. So like I've said, the decision in the eligibility matter was worrying us about the finality of the decisions of the court. But so far now, what we have seen with the judges who have been appointed, they're able to take a different viewpoint, even against the state. They're able to differ with the state. The state wanted the independent members of parliament, the running mates, to be replaced, the ones who have resigned. That was their position, that no, they have resigned. Let them be replaced by the candidates. But the court said, no, that's not the position, that's not the law. So I think that we should give them a benefit of doubt. I'm not happy sometimes. I go to this court. I get decisions that sometimes I get to question as to whether I should be going to this court over and over again. But I realize that we are making a law here. We are clarifying the laws of this country. And these things we do today, they have a bearing on the future. There will be other judges that will come, look at the judgment, and the court can be allowed to depart from its previous decisions like they did. Okay? So for me, that departing, I didn't agree with it. And but the point is that this is the court of...
Finally, Isaac, before I let you go, your view on Iris Kaingu. Looking at the two so far public statements, the president is confirming that he called her father, and he asked her to stand down. And he said she didn't oblige. And then he proceeds to tell the people of Mwandi not to vote for her. We saw the entire Mwandi, literally the entire Mwandi, rise in the night to defend the right of Iris Kaingu to stand. And we saw Iris Kaingu do a Facebook Live where she has now even given details that the president offered me this if I withdrew. And this whole thing just leaves a sour taste. You smell corruption, bribery, intimidation. What's your reflection on this before I let you go?
Well, I may not agree with you entirely that it smells corruption and all that. And I'll tell you the reason why. These politicians, they offer their candidates to join them with the promise that they'll give them something in return. Okay? So even those that have joined the opposition NRUP, who are running mates, they could have been offered something to join and said, we're going to nominate you afterwards. So this is how our politics are done. And the fact that the president came up and said, I offered her, and she comes to confirm that indeed the president offered me a nomination, even an election as a woman, as a youth. This is what has happened in this election, Ambassador Mwamba. Even the opposition and the ruling party, both of them, they have offered those people who do not want, who they did not want to stand in these elections, to say we are going to, when we win the seats as the PR seats, we are going to give you these seats. These offers keep coming up to these candidates. It's part of the politics. I wouldn't say it is corruption, no.
Thank you, Isaac. Thank you very much. And we'll hear from the callers. If you have time, be on standby. You can follow the program. But thank you very much, Isaac. And thank you for coming at such a short notice to give us the insights of the court.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've been hosting our dear brother, Isaac Mwanza. You know, I've always stated that he's one of those most litigious persons in our country, like Winter Kabimba was. He took every matter of controversy to the courts for determination. I think that's the best way to end any debate. For us, we bring it to podcast, to newspapers, to the public gallery. In the case of Isaac, he takes it to the courts of law because he says, look, the experts are there, the courts are there, let them determine. And Isaac, whatever your views or feelings about him, has been very instrumental in the growth of our jurisprudence. Let's go back to the issues. Dr. Kalonde, I heard from the conversations I've seen by the president. First, we've had many reports that independent candidates are being given a lot of money to withdraw. We have had audios that we've played on this program where candidates, in Malole and others were told, withdraw, and there's this so much, thousands or millions or, or hundreds of thousands for you. Here are the two key examples: the story of Gary Nkombo and Iris Kaingu. The issue of Iris Kaingu is even sad because at the time they're having the conversation, Iris Kaingu has already filed in. She has already resigned. She's no longer a member of the UPND. And the president is persuading her, offering her, even going to her father. You know, I don't know how you make of it, but this was a corrupt proposal. We've heard the views of our dear brother Isaac Mwanza, but let me pick your mind on that.
Well, Amamba, every time you offer somebody a quid pro quo comes in that way, it is called bribery, no matter what. So I know our brother Isaac could look at it in a different way. But the fact is this: whenever these people, independents, have been offered something for them to step down or to not contest those seats, that is bribery. I can even relate to what we heard about Bill 7 when people were taken to Lower Zambezi. That's what we heard, and they were given some cash. That is bribery, and somebody can be taken to court, and somebody can go to jail. So when they think that this is ends there, they never know. Kalonde might come and say, hey, I'm going to find a lawyer, and this lawyer, I'm going to pay him to go and contest what took place by that time. And these are things that we overlook mostly. I'm sorry to say this, mostly in the third world countries, we feel like the president, the CEO of the country, is the CEO of the country, has all the powers to do anything they want. But we also have other ways of trying to stop whatever the president is trying to do that is wrong. Or we find a way of trying to litigate that thing, and we go to court. That's the only way we can do it. So could somebody take these MPs that went and got money and voted for Bill 7 for corruption and bribery? Yes. Can somebody, Kaingu is a witness at this point of the offer of bribery by the highest office in the country, which is not right. We're not supposed to be doing that. But yes, we do it because we feel like we are next to God when we are in those positions, which is not right. So I feel Kaingu, I saw the video, the young lady is hurt. Honestly, the young lady is hurt. You can see through her emotions that she is hurt. And I don't know what the president was thinking. If somebody resigns and somebody says, I'm going to stand as an independent, what right do you have to go and say, no, be with us? She has made a choice. And according to what she said, this was not the first time they had a conversation about a position. So why not allow her do what she wants? Why do we men every time want to suppress women? What is wrong with us? Why don't we just render them our ears and understand where they're coming from and where they are going? I think that is when things will be correct and will be right. So Kaingu has a right. By HH, yes, he can campaign against her, but don't take it too personal. You are the president of the country. Don't take it too personal.
It's extremely personal. In fact, for her, she's just suffered what you might view as verbal abuse. The other independent candidates have not been so lucky. Gary Nkombo was stopped, beaten, and is being prosecuted whilst he was a victim. We have an independent candidate from Wengwa whose cars were damaged. His home was stormed. and is literally living like a refuge because they asked him to withdraw and he refused. We have candidates in Monze, Choma, and elsewhere that have, suffered the brunt of attacks because they chose to stand as independents. Also in Northwestern Province, we have those cases. For Iris, the president calling you and telling you to withdraw and you saying no, it takes a lot of courage because this is a president,
Yes.
like she says herself, that it must be very difficult. She doesn't find someone who can refuse these generous offers from the president. But she said no, but the president has refused to accept her no. And then he has gone with a ton of bricks, vote against her. We've lost three MKI.
The word that is missing in your statement, the word that is missing there is the word injustice to all these people that they've suppressed and tried to force them to do what they don't want to do. We cannot continue living in a society where injustice is the talk of the day, every day. Injustice, I'm telling you, is the most painful thing. We
Professor. Yeah, okay.
Try to allow it from our president.
Thank you. Let me play this
President
again.
of the country calls you, you refuse. That young lady, I called her, said, don't stand as an independent. Support Sefulo here. Support Kakoma. She refused. President of the country calls you, you refuse. That young lady, I called her, said, don't stand as an independent. Support Sefulo here. Support Kakoma. She refused. Now, if the president calls a member of the party, I'm president of UPND, I call a member that let's follow the decision of the party, she refuses. President of the country calls you, you refuse. Kono wakenda mwakambe, wena. Kiskaman wena. Huh? Banana wakataza mwanana wakataza. Don't vote for her. Mutwile. Don't vote for her. Mutwile marozbaruna. Banana wakataza mwanana wakataza. Don't vote for her. Mutwile. Don't vote for her. Mutwile marozbaruna.
Thank you, Doc. We've lost, a freedom fighter. I regard him as the freedom fighter, the pilgrim. Dr. Canisius Banda was spokesperson at Ministry of Health. He became a face of that ministry. We haven't had any spokesperson of his stature and interpretation of that ministry. He gave it proper narrative. He joined politics. He ventured into politics. He tried Mandevu constituency in 2011 under the MMD. But, he couldn't win. There was a window of change, and the PF were very strong. They had taken Lusaka and Copperbelt in the 2006 election, and they consolidated their stay. So he didn't manage. Jean Kapata beat him. He later joined the UPND, where he was vice president to, he's one of the 3 vice presidents in UPND. Late in 2019-2020, he joined the PF until his demise. He's been with the opposition. So we mourn him, and such an educated man. And then there's a type of chewa he spoke. It was very fascinating. We've lost other 2 key people. Ambassador Zulu from China, who was in the country, and Dr. Naman Monze, PS Southern Province. It's been a week of mourning. Let me invite Dr. Kalonde for any comments on this matter. Yes, Doc.
Yes, I knew Dr. Canisius Banda very much, and quite a fascinating person and quite a good leader, and dedicated to whatever he was doing. That's what he was. Unfortunately, life as it is, we have lost him, and may his soul rest in peace. The other two, I'll be very honest with you. The Ambassador Mwanza, I never met this person. Now, the other person you mentioned, I also have never met them. But all the same, we have lost two lives in the ambassador and in the other gentleman. And as such, unfortunately, the only thing that I could say is may their souls rest in peace, and may their families find peace with the community and the people around them. Let me go back to Dr. Canisius Banda. Dr. Canisius Banda was a very solid person in UPND as the vice president, actually. And actually, he was like the glue that held the party together for quite some time. And even some support that came from other places was due to Dr. Canisius Banda, actually. It was not from just the other person who focuses from, mostly on his people to support him. Dr. Banda worked very hard until he decided to leave the party and started going to other parts of, the world in terms of life. Yes, he will be missed by family and the medical fraternity, and he will also be missed by the souls that his life touched, because as he went about his life, there were people that really relied on him and learned a lot from him. Thank you.
On the elections, 13 days away from elections, give us your brief reflections.
The elections, the way it is actually, we know that the opposition of Brian Mundubile and Makebi Zulu, they are doing very good. And to me, I would be very frank with you. YHH is not fighting those two people. YHH should understand that this is a revolution. And this revolution has been necessitated by what has transpired in the country. And somebody would ask, what transpired? We had almost 5 years, I should say, almost 5 years, 4.5 years of darkness, load shedding in the country. I went to Zambia 3 years ago. I've been going lately, but I went 3 years ago when there was load shedding. And in the evening, we were preparing dinner. We ended up kwamkoshaka baula bwangu panto malaiti yaya pauti tupushok na yakabwadi. That is not how life was supposed to be. That is not what Zambians were supposed to be experiencing. And the question that comes up on that, before I go back to the elections, is Amalait Balishtisha Kufialo Kumbi. And the question is, which Zambians benefited from that money which was realized from the sale of electricity to Namibia, Botswana, Congo, and some other countries, whoever bought power from us, where did the money go? That's the question that every Zambian must ask. And coming back to the elections, this statement was made some years back here in the US when George Bush Sr. was contesting the position. He was president, he was trying to go for the second term, just like HH is trying to go for the second term. And the question that came up is, are you better off now than 5 years ago? Are Zambians better off now than 5 years ago? If they look behind and they see what is going on today, in that ballot box, they should ask themselves, am I better off today than 5 years ago? That should be able to help them understand how to vote. Now, the other question that I would want us to understand is that HH was handed over power after Walungu lost elections. And the way Mr. Lungu handed over power was very peaceful. No contest, no nothing. He was a lawyer, the late president, but he never contested in a very acrimonious way. No, he never did anything. He just said, here are the instruments of power. I do remember in 1991 when Wakaunda lost. He said something that was profound. He just told the world that you lose some, you win some. I have lost. And that's how we handed over power to FTJ. The question that I have today is HH ready? Is he ready to hand over power peacefully?
Thank you very much, Doc.
Will he try?
Will he accept defeat? Will he hand over power if he lost power?
Yes. Will he hand over power peacefully?
Thank you, Doc. Let me invite our callers, whoever has anything to say to the development in the courts of law where there have been those two judgments on running mates and independent candidates, and the issues we are discussing of Iris Kaingu and independent candidates that are being threatened, corrupted, or being forced or requested to abandon their political pursuits, so that the candidates of the UPND remains unchallenged. You can pick your call and quickly call. Thank you very much. It's been very difficult. We've been working in double shifts. We've been working in double shifts, so we don't want to stay long, but we have our first caller. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Hello, caller. Hello, caller. I can see that our caller has been connected, but is not coming on. Let me take the other one. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Good evening, Ambassador Mwamba.
Good evening, sir. Please tell us your name.
David in Mongo. David Moyoambuya in Mongo.
Oh, what David in Mongo. Thank you for coming in. Please make your contribution.
My contribution is actually like a urology, but I'll make it very short.
Yeah.
It's quite sad. It's a sad day for me because Dr. Canisius Banda was a person I've never met, but is a person I've followed keenly. And is a person who I feel the story should be told as it is. Dr. Canisius Banda was the vice president of the UPND for a very long time. And as the professor said, he held that position and helped the UPND to get to where it was. But when it came to choosing a running mate, Canisius Banda was there with GBM, Godfrey Waliao Mwamba, when also he was chosen as vice president. To the surprising of everybody in the UPND, just because the current leader of the UPND wanted the presidency so much, he preferred to choose Godfrey Waliao as his running mate. To tell you the truth, honestly speaking, that was a very big disappointment to Canisius Banda and his followers. So let's not leave that part. He felt betrayed. Canisius Banda is a politician who I would describe a politician who never crossed the line, because he never became a politician in a running government. He never achieved to become government because he was in opposition in the UPND. When he got frustrated because of betrayal, he was betrayed by his mate who he depended on for a long time. You know, when you're a vice president, you're like the first wife to someone. Then secondly, someone chooses the second wife to be the running mate when it matters most. Then he left the UPND when it was just forming government. And he went into the opposition again. So he's a politician who I feel he deserves more, but he never really got where he was supposed to get to because of betrayal. It now matters where this saying goes, politics, is it a dirty game or is it a clean game? So what I'll just say for now on this issue is I'll pay my respects and my condolences to all of those who feel for him the way I feel for him.
Thank you, my dear brother. Thank you.
Which you are doing to him. Yeah, he was a great man.
Thank you very much. Thank you. That was David from Mongo. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
I'm calling you from Lusaka, Zambia, my brother.
Oh, let me pick the other call. I think the other caller is ready. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Am I clear?
You are now. Yeah, you are now online.
Thank you very much. Our people say, "Mawe akulu akomata gonela." Okay. The problem with an old man's advice is that whether you take it or not, you'll find it in the future. Kaunda told us, Keke told us, this man will bring disaster. Levi Patrick Mwanawasa told us clearly in the book of Amos Chanda to say that this man, his desire is to cheat.
The book of Amos Malupenga.
Excellent.
You said Amos Chanda. Amos Malupenga.
Well, yeah, so thank you for the correction, my brother. What is it? This man wants to cheat. It doesn't matter the process as long as he gets what he wants. And this is exactly what he is doing today. you are all seeing today. And Raphael Nakatinda is in prison today for describing the primitivity that you are saying today. Hybrid primitivity. You go to Choma and tell people, don't vote for this person. Vote for this person. Because he thinks that all the votes that people have, the right people to vote, are in his pocket. That's what he thinks. He thinks it's him to dictate who should be voted for. He is forcing things. You have seen what he's doing. He has done in our rows. He has been banging the courts, banging them with changing judges until he gets the judgment that he wants. That is the level of primitivity that is existing here. Now, my brother, Ambassador Manoma, you have now a president who is calling a councillor to say, can you resign? Now you have an answer of why these elections are full of people who are withdrawing. Being cheated. You remember Mao Sampa was told you are going to be running mate together with his friend Nevas Bumba. They go ready with all their documents. They go and they find that there's somebody else who is there. Has the guy ever fulfilled any of his promises? A lot of people are being cheated and they are being paid a lot of money. And indeed, that is hybrid corruption, which must be investigated. Where does the president find time, the presidents, to start calling a council? Who is running the country? As I'm talking to you now, there are no drugs in hospitals. As I'm talking to you now, there are no wheelchairs at UTH. And the man is busy calling.
Thank you.
It's a tragic mistake to put this man in president. I have not yet finished, my brother.
Oh, quickly finish. I want to, there are so many people that are calling.
Please, napapata, my brother. They can't kumtima chichoki. Now, like hybrid criminals, hybrid thugs, they are defending themselves without any shame in their routing. They are saying it is okay to root ZNS. It is okay for us to root FRA. It's okay for us to root. Now you have heard what is happening in Kumamai, whatever is there. Why? These are issues we are talking about. Can you tell us the conflict of interest? Senior officials of the party are going to root FRA there. They are going to borrow Kujakuchan. Where is the conflict of interest? That maize that is there at ZNS is supposed to be reduced to 50 kwacha. But how do you reduce it when you have people who are in office who are going to root that maize? The maize that is meant for a widow in Mrs. A maid that is made for an orphan in Kanyama. Max Moe must root that maize. A senior official of the European. And the man is quite there. He's busy making calls. So let me end here for now, my brother. But
thank you, my dear brother. Thank you.
Everybody must have a voter's card. And we must vote 200%. Whether sick or not, is sure that you are voting. This man needs more than a landslide victory to send him back to Wengwa, where he comes from. We can't afford to have this level of primitivity in a country. Zambia has never been reduced to this. Zambia has never been reduced to this level since independence.
Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Hello, Ambassador Mwamba Mwabombeni.
But nameless, make your contribution. Mkwai.
Oh, thank you. Well, Ambassador, I won't be long. I just feel a little bit sad when what has happened to this lady, Iris. Mwamba, there is a saying you said you saw.
Speak in the phone, Mama. Speak in the phone. You are speaking away from the phone.
Hello, Mwamba.
Yeah, that's better.
You hear me now?
Yes.
You hear me properly?
Yes.
Oh, Okay, what I was saying that there is this saying which says the seed you sow is the seed you reap. When we sow good seeds through our reaction and the decision we make with time and persistence, we can reap the benefit of that behavior. So, Bamwamba, what am I trying to say here is what you do today comes back to affect you tomorrow. I'm so disappointed, with the reaction of Bakateka over the issue of Iris. I'm talking as a woman. She's so hurt. You can see into her eyes when she was trying to say something. And she's been so courageous because it's not easy. Yeah. This is one of those ladies who are fighters, no matter what happens. At times, we need to let people take their vision forward. We can't always be spoon-fed, Bamwamba. Because, you see, when we are spoon-fed and not learn anything, we cannot realize anything. It says you need to teach your children to cultivate, they may gain their wealth. Uyu mwana mukashana mwaiche na kwata vision. Teti bamupite pa ukweba titetu chitefinefi. Kumuleka ukumona ngacha kweba tikuti abomba. Ngatabombele elu mwaisa mchita kondem. Bamwamba nimba so disappointed. Pantu Mubiu 7 constitution pali bapa mopo bale mbokwe bati baka suggest ukwe bati baka senda kuna bana mayo. Number what I have seen is that we women, we are not fully respected, and which is very bad for Bakateka. And he took it so personal, and it was like he was humiliated by this girl, and yet it was the opposite, because the girl is the one who has been humiliated. And it was like the way he was speaking with that hunger. If that girl was to him, he could have hurt her badly. I'm speaking loudly. This is very sad for Bakateka. But each kurusa nature kumuna ifo na babo tubika pamu. Tabafu kuchita react fila Bakateka.
Thank you, my dear sister. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Ziko Mukwambiri Bamwamba. I will speak in local language so that people can understand.
Thank you.
Zinayanga ndine Michael Zefenia Piri, campaign manager waba Jean Kapata in Mandev constituency. Before I contribute, nizaka mbakuti chaipa maningi, we have lost our brother. Wakenisha spanda, banakulira Mama Ndevu muno, taruzinga impalumetu muno Mama Ndevu. That was our tribal cousin, the Bandas and the Piris. Sorry chaipa. Chamina nifuno kamba kwa Mwamba, nichakuti my elections this year, yankala maningi na magazi, wa president akainde ichirema, bankala zisi bakamba. But bakaimirira pa podium, bakamba kuti ba PF bashitari group, ndiye babwera, ndiye mfuna mapanga ya kabwerere. But bantu bao, ndiye wamene bachenche na bantu. Lero Bamwamba testafuna kuti tingene tiende tika campaign. I think I would say pa 26 tinaenda campaign monga mwamine yaona tupasira ba ECZ 2 days. Tenze mchaisa banapwanya mamotoka ya Honorable Jean Kapata ba UPND, well known UPND cadres, wamene karufyanya, wamene vuta kuno kwa Mandevu. Anaotuma abantu bake na yevi banatipwanyira. Nalero futi taenda tiende tingene mu Mpulungu ward. They were all over ku Mpulungu ward. So chamene mazambians vakamba kuti vafunsa kuno kwa mandevu ushe ndiye free and fair election yamene vaHH yamene vakambapo, then 2 ndiye mapanga amene vamakamba amene va PF but va UPND ndiyo amene vachosa mapanga vamenya vantu vapwanya vatitema miyala lero vamwamba futi kanikana namba 8 tikangena chabe na Honorable Jean Kapata nishitiza teme wa miyala sitiza siriza ntawi zinango timachoka chabe tabwerera kuyopa kuti vantu vazatimenya. Now va president akainde ichire mukamba kuti Zambia pamene munangala va president imwe kunangala mutenderi ndiye mutenderi wamene mukamba uyu tikupempani imwe wa president kuti muvauze vantu vanu ngati mufuna free and fair elections mufunika muvauze vantu vanu lekani the best candidate should win. And nikapo naine va president mwamene vanachitira react pali Iris Kaingus vanachitira react bwino kulibe president in the history ya ino Zambia wamene anauza kuti osaenda mvotera uja AI ndise tili na mpamvu vamene tifunika kuvotera aso kama timpamvu ku vantu va president valibe mpamvu kuyangana na constitution ya Zambia kuti vaziuza vantu kuti AI osamvotera. Ise ndise vamene tikamba tinali kuvauza va president kuti opposition ndise vantu vapeza kamba kuti nizankhala pati azakabwera kankale pati lero vapeza opposition Brian Munduwire na Makebi Zulu vaimirira vantu va Zambia vakamba kuti ndiyo vamene tifuna lero vakaimirira vamakamba every day vamakamba the boys vakumwa chiuku manje veve va president vafuna vakazinena vanzao vatikamba kukamba pali veve vazafuna kutigwira kamba ka cyber so vamene ise vantu ndife cyber tivachosapo pa 13th August lero exact 12 days tikamba kuti va president zamene muchita muzichita di campaign mweka mwazichita di campaign munatigwira pakamwa tifuna manje tingane na ufulu wozikambira muziko latu la Zambia so zikomo vamwamba poli pasako nthawi kuti navenangu vakambeko va president yambani kupakinga ise vantu vakwa mandevu sitikupasani vote chifukwa nkondo yamene mumenya vantu ma voters every day vantu vamenyewa ma records yaliko lero testapereka na mapepa ku ECZ konse tapereka ma complaints ndiye vamene nezofuna tinekambeko vamwamba. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Zephania. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Hello, vamwamba mwabombeni mkwai.
Ndita mkwai mayo barishani.
Awa ndife bwino neo mama Nyirenda ndetu mina kusukuvalesti.
Mama Nyirenda, make your contribution.
Mama fingi fya kulanda. Mkwai fingi fya kulanda. Nenda sakamana pali bakateka weso. Ngana ikala nemu nenda ipusha. Usherango bakwete. Nilango kwa tikateko wa kusunga abantu nangu nilango yashani. Mwana nefe balandile pali bagali nkombo. Umuntu fe wakwati niyeoda kushechi. Badi musalani yeoda. Mulume wa bantu. Niwishi wa bantu. Nianko wa bantu. Ifi barandire pali airisha barandire mailo. Elo naranga umuchinshukuru sana nabe pushe mi pusho kwa tipushe elo twarelanda marisa pa bantu apa buta sofile abaswike bena bonfuile shani bose abantu aba bampepi na bakateka finshi babeba bakateka aba inacho mbwene pofye naba kwata fyo bukali umuntu uli onse naba bareka pali ponse fye bakali aba kwa batikatuishi katuishi ngani fina beshi bakwati bararusa bakateka shishibe umlandu umuntu wafa ku bantu fye fina baba kondeme kuli bagali nkombo ngani umbinga tababweke shepo ena pa UPND umwana bali mukana aya imina pali independent futi ba mukonkera ukuyalanda tawe mwe votera awe mwishitashani ero mu constitution yabweyo balela ndoko batulefu ayaba kashana bana mayo umwaisha ipera bayasenda bashitata aba iminine pokale kuli bagali nkombo bala ndoko bati gali nkombo 20 years alifye mu parliament ngayo umwana mulandu shenu balandirepo alamandi tulonfa nensoni nga waya kuchalo kumbi bale chokati pushe bakateka wenu noche balandira so language jabai funya kwisa isele ni pakanwa language mayo mama chikwe tero ya mumombe bwino tesa mpani.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Adokola, please tell us your name and make your contribution.
Hello, good evening, Mr. Mwamba.
Please switch off the other device.
Yes, I've done so.
Thank you. Make your contribution.
Mwamba, I'm just disappointed with the president. Kateka uwa kuya ukutumina candidate mukashano mwa ichefiria. Na bitterness ile moneka na ichiramu bitterness. Taile moneka bueno. At every podium afile konde mapo muntu other than ukushita campaign. Bafile bachita campaign fina manifesto yabo. No mbata bakwete manifesto because you also have to be perifi yabo fi. Tapari chachitika pama promises ya ntu batupeli. No mba ichile tinya sana ni bitterness ile moneka. It's too apparent mliba president. I was thinking that law to a young lady all of them kweba uyiminina tukesa kupela so abalela tukesa kupele chifulo eba konde matantamini yaba former ruling party wa PF numba eba lefa bale tantamika abantu because naba kwata authority nkesa kupele chifulo uyiminina ngana utemole fo abe mu leadership nishita bamusalire uli awine abe pongu uzani chak mupela akawine it's even carrying more weight so teko ufiro kwekela po bunangwapa nono abatula ile methodical leadership and whatever thing the first thing we saw vasalire nintungulushia boy one of the ministers I don't know if it's just MP goes kuma Chinese bayampera akachola afuma aba ndaba mdefendere nibana teba president wa Sri ati iyo ma calendars na chmuita. Why should he be the court? Why should he be judging? Let the public opinion fly and also let that person be investigated. Not the president ever investigator. So now balanga fyo kwebati. Ubutungurushu bwabo kutwalirira how tukekatira chingo kwa kaba. Abate abafuyo kupita nangwa pa no ne riboti ya pita to apishapo ne riboti pali bande. So Mwamba tubombeshe bonse pamu ba opposition bonse ba independent making sure that as he is decampaigning others in Garing Combo or the independents maybe never Iris vale start the campaign na ifo tuba bonse to the gang up and decampaign him so that this man leaves government. We don't need 5 more years of this takwa kabe democracy takwa kabe if you under 2090 they mean it so we need to cut this and break it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Adokola, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution. Adokola, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, my brother. Make your contribution. Your name and where you're calling us from.
Yes. First of all, Honorable Mwamba and the listeners there. All along we have got President the late President Mwanawasa, Rupia Banda, Michael Sat, and President Lungu. We have had a situation whereby they have got 2 candidates contesting 1 seat. The other one will feel frustrated and say, I'm going to contest an independent. They call both of them and they ask the other one, say, can you resign and give place to another one so that when we win, we'll give you a position. Okay, that has been happening in a different way. Right there before you start campaign, before they even find in a nomination. We have had that situation. But for this one, it's a totally different one. Somebody should not even try to put it in, try to twist it the other way that no, this is normal president, call other their candidates and call them and ask the other one and they offer them a position. This one is totally different one. Here the situation where in the first place we have had rumors of before you even come to elections. When it came to the issue of constitution, we have got rumors, very, very shameful but alarming rumors of people being offered a lot of money for them to vote for Butane. And then all of a sudden, when it time comes for elections, we have got people withdrawing and rumors of being bribed a lot of money for them to withdraw. And then we have such a shameful liberation. I don't agree with Isaac Mwanza when he says that there is nothing wrong with that. That is totally very different situation altogether. And it's very, very shameful. But we have got dignitaries here. Some of them are observers coming to other countries. They have such you shouldn't think that they don't know all these things. They go to different countries where they observe elections. They have seen these things happening. So they are able to differentiate where there is corruption, where there is just a normal negotiation of two people coming from a same political party and their leaders sit them together and say, Bane, can you, one of you, give chance to another one, and when we win, we'll give him a position, him or her a position. That has nothing to do with corruption. Such a different situation from this one. Let us try not to pretend to try to defend something which we know is very wrong. Not only wrong, but also shameful even to other countries, because some of these things, because we are taking it for granted, or because we are too much afraid of cyber laws. We are not helping our country.
Thank you, my dear brother.
Our president, but not helping the country. Let me just conclude by also making a brief comment about the violence that is happening in this country. Again, by Isaac Mwanza says that no, there are pockets of violence. 5 people being killed just within 2 months, and he said that is a pocket of violence. As usual, he's speaking as a pro-NGO to UPND, where they usually refer to the violence of the past, and he's saying that time it is even worse than the way it is. For him now, things are far much better than the way that it was. Hey, are we really serious?
Thank you, my brother.
Are you speaking on behalf of the nation, and you are speaking on your behalf? By Isaac Mwanza, you are not even helping the president. Neither are you helping this country. You are the one making this situation worse. During the time of, but I'm concluding, Bamwamba. During the time of Lungu, whenever there was violence, people are saying it's you, President Lungu, who should come out and condemn this. In fact, even our current president used to use such words, that it is you to condemn because they are one in power. They are not saying no political stakeholders. Today, by Isaac Mwanza, because since they are supported by President Lungu, by President Hakainde, it is the stakeholders who should come out and condemn that. When all these things, perpetrated violence is going on, yesterday, there are so many attacks that happened, just yesterday. And yet the president comes on the media and say, don't go back to the pangas. And we all know what is happening. Pangas now have been increased even to tasers and guns. As far as Isaac Mwanza is concerned, all these things are not worse. The situation is better than the way it was in the past.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I don't know I don't know where we are going as a nation.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for now, Mama. Let me end.
Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Good evening. I'd rather not say my name.
Anonymous, make your contribution.
I want to add my voice to the sentiments that the statement by the president at the rally in Mwandi. First of all, I think we need to speak about the fact that this culture of abuse, of insults and violence has been a trademark of the UPND from many years back. And yet, they were always trying to play victim, and yet they were the perpetrators. A lot of political leaders and their opponents have faced that kind of abuse. From that Kanema abusing the late former president, we've had that happen when ECL was escorting Mrs. Esther Lungu to the courts. Insults were flying. No one was ever punished for that. Now, they were not condemned by their leader. And now we know why, because the leader himself is abusive. He went to Mazabuka and he has berated and abused Gary Nkombo, and including his mother and all that. And yet, where people like Rafael Nakachinda in prison, among the cases that he had was that he insulted when he used terms like Bayateke, things like that. But now you have someone using that very bad Tonga expression, and people want to defend that. And then he goes and abuses and he attacks a very young lady who's young enough to be a kasuli maybe to him. It's it's very worrying, it's very disappointing, and it just shows that this is where it's coming from. That's why we've not seen anybody lower than him who has used such abusive language punished or condemned or corrected, because it starts from the head. So I'm surprised that the women's rights groups have not spoken. The Human Rights Commission has made a very general statement to, instead of pinpointing who is making these statements. When Gary was being abused about his physical appearance, some people finding it funny and making jokes about it. But this is the same president who was telling us that he had to push for Bill 7 because it was going to give additional rights and empowerment to the disabled, to the women, to the youths. We have not seen him adopting youths as he was saying he needed Bill 7 to adopt youths. We have not seen him promoting women because now he's insulting women. We've not seen him promoting disabled people because he's making fun of people's physical features, which they have no control over. So this is a big problem. It's beyond political. He's got this manifesto 10-10, whatever, 7-5, whatever. Instead of speaking to that, he's just going to insult people on the platforms. So it shows us that we have very mediocre leadership, and every well-meaning Zambian should stand up on the 13th of August and make sure we put an end to this mediocre leadership. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution. Endita. Bachontalandeni poyama.
Ngelanda kwangu mpere kwenye bambi ba mwamba ba president na Iris Kaingu bapusena ba manifestos. If you watch the video yakwa Iris Kaingu alandire fintu fitatu ifiri kumutima wakwe ifire chita affect Avena Mwandi. But President didn't talk about what the other candidate wants to do for the people of Mwandi. She talked about the issue of water. She talked about the issue of a medical facility to assist women who are delivering ox carts. She talked about a school, the nearest school. Those are the main concerns Aqua Iris. Now, the president is failing to appreciate Ayama concerns Mukashanoyo. She's no longer actually Umwaichi, she's an adult. Let's that lady our mother. She's now our mother, that one. Those concerns are at the heart of the problems that are existing in Mwandi. You can imagine she raised these 3 bottles of water, I think 2 or 3 bottles of water. That is the water that the people of Mwandi are drinking, and the president is not concerned about that. Vanine Mwandi, she said, Balepa Pira, Morifi, what do you call them? If ox carts, if
ox carts.
Yes. In the new Don government, she is also concerned about Abanabe school. There is free education, but that free education is found 10 kilometers away. Now, she says, look, the way she feels, other than herself standing, the other candidate who has been there cannot be able to fight those things on behalf of the people of Mwandi. President, because in the last 5 years, the president has been fighting different battles. Meantime, Kaingu has been concerned every time she travels to Mwandi, she looks at these things that are still there. And now the time to come for votes has has come, and the president thinks the young man has got no respect, the young woman has got no respect. Let us be very realistic. And this is what is happening. If you travel Mwamba, Ukwembe road ukukusina Zongwe kusia Nyolo Konsoku, there are issues with Southern Province. Mwira monokutila abanensi no question fair babuino yo. There are issues, serious issues, because of even erratic rain each tika ku Southern Province. Ila revolution mwamona ichara aponya wa president de ukukonse kumbini ku Southern Province. Ekwa alaba aponya because he is not being realistic. He must face the truth. If you are in the Fukushi, Pama campaign is not addressing, he has no manifesto, it's just not about people, talking about this one, talking about that. Let him address the issues, but the time, it is too late, unfortunately, it is too late. Kayingu, Iris, please do your best. You have got all the support.
Thank you very much.
Not only speaking for the people of Mandi, you are speaking for the people of Zambia, the women of Zambia. Thank you, Mamam.
Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make a contribution. Hello, caller.
My name is Antunas.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you very much. I would like to first and foremost thank you, Ambassador Mwamba, for according me the opportunity to speak on the podcast. And also, I would like to just pay my condolences to the families that have lost Dr. Canisius Banda and Dr. Monze. I know that there's also another excellency, from China who has passed away. May their souls rest in eternal peace. On the issue, I want to talk about two issues. On the issue on Iris Kayingu and the corruption, issue that was tackled by one of your panelists. But with Iris, I hope she's listening, or she will later on listen to this. I want to commend her on the bravery of having answered back in such a manner where she obviously was at pains. And I know that this is something that everyone has said, but when you have a feeling about something, or you would like to speak to someone directly, it's better to say it. So I feel that she's answered very well, with a lot of respect. She was calm and, clearly showed that she has the passion to fix the things that she has seen there. Iris, keep it up. From the way you have spoken is the way we want to see you correct the issues in Mwandi, which unfortunately have not been seen by the president, who was condemning you for not listening to him. Do not be intimidated. Continue. You have the full support of the people there, and you will have the support of all of us women who know that a lot of our women countrywide here are suffering. A lot of women don't have places where they deliver. They don't have ambulances. They don't have transport to take them to the hospital. Some of them, like you were saying, they deliver in these carts where they just put an oxen or a bicycle, dragging them to the hospital. Now, I think this has to come to an end here in Zambia. So to you, I would like to applaud you. And we shall endeavor to even come through. Some of us have traveled the country all over, everywhere, and we know the problems. So take it up, young girl, and be brave. We've got a few more days to go. You will get the vote, and we'll stand by you, and we will help wherever we can.
Thank you, my dear sister. Thank you very much. Any other contribution quickly?
Yes, the second contribution is sadly, it makes me sad that so much corruption has been happening in this country to the point where we no longer, some of us, see that it is corruption when it's happening. We seem to now begin to think that it's, one of those things that can be done. I like the fact that Professor Kalonde has, highlighted a few things after the gentleman spoke.
Isaac Mwanza.
I've forgotten his name. Yeah, Isaac Mwanza. Isaac Mwanza, I'm sure you are still there. Please let's not lose focus of our culture, the integrity that one needs to have, and the humanity, and how much this country was respected everywhere. You stood up and you said you were a Zambian. Everybody was up clapping. But the way it looks now, we're one of those countries where people are looking down on us. We need to lift this country to the status that it was and even better. Because now we are educated and now we know exactly how we should be going. Let's make sure that we maintain law and order in this country. What you were talking about and the things on, people being paid to stand down, and it is corruption. It can't be called anything else. Corruption of the highest degree, and it must come to an end. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Ambassador.
Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Good evening. This is Marvis from Kalumbila.
Marvis, make your contribution.
As an ordinary citizen, I have a few concerns that I hope our leaders will take seriously. Many skilled Zambians are struggling to find employment in the mining sector where we are working. Example like me. Yet we continue to see positions such as boilermakers, welders, steel fixers, and other skilled trades being filled by foreign workers. My question is, are we doing enough to prioritize Zambian qualified people before recruiting from outside the country? Mine workers make significant sacrifices every day. We work in hazardous environments, exposed to dust, chemicals, and other occupational risks, and spend long periods away from our families. Despite these realities, many miners feel that the tax burden on our salaries is too high, leaving us with little after deductions. We ask the president, which I know is listening, not the government, the president, since now this looks like he's leading himself alone, to review this and ensure workers are fairly rewarded for the risks they take. Communities hosting mining operations also deserve greater attention, Mamwamba, don't you think?
Correct.
They give up land and live with the environment impacts of mining. These communities should see meaningful benefits through employment opportunities, better infrastructure, healthcare, education, and economic development. So if FQM today leaves that has built a school that we have seen, that we that are here in the mining sector have seen, what happens? The government can never build a single thing for its people. It is very unfortunate. There are also growing concerns about land ownership. Many citizens feel that too much land is being allocated, especially me, or sold to foreign investors without sufficient transparency or assurance that the interests of Zambians come first. Our land is a national resource and should be managed in a way that safeguards the country's long-term interests. Finally, Bamwamba, I ask our leaders to remember the ordinary citizens. Extended power outages don't only inconvenience people, they affect livelihood. There are people, Bamwamba, who depend on barber shops. From the commons, some of us grew up from the commons. Our parents were doing saloons. So when he takes away and sells the power outside, we are the ones who are suffering. The little people down, the people who can't afford a certain type of lifestyle are suffering the most. It is very unfair, and it is inhuman for a person to think that they own a country like it's a bedroom. It is very bad. We're very young people. We used to hear these things way back, and we've grown. We are in our 30s, and we're hearing and seeing examples from people we should learn from. This is very, very bad. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have so many calls and people waiting. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Good evening, Ambassador Mwamba.
Good evening.
Thank you very much for this wonderful program. Mwamba, natemwa sana kuti you have managed to bring in Isaac Mwanza together with the professor. But my first comments goes to Isaac Mwanza. Ichiwemba chitila ati ubuchinga wimbira abanove we ukapone na moni webo. Why do I say so? Isaac Mwanza, together with the late Ntewewe, they are so very good friends. And Isaac Mwanza is a good governance activist. But to my surprise, when the UPND, they were ripping off PF, turning PF into pieces. Our brothers who call himself to be a good governance activist, very, very quiet. I just want to pick from this. The second thing, if you look about the way UPND and President Hakainde Hichilema crafted this year elections, for the first time in this country, the same week Parliament was dissolved, that was the same week nomination for aspiring candidates for members of parliament, mayoral, council chairperson, and the councillors. So you can see how they crafted together with the Bill 7. So our brothers, Mbuya Wanga, Isaac Mwanza, he had picked over 100 constituencies for independent MPs. If you have all these issues by statecraft, tabale for other people, bale for kukokensambusha abantu bale for kuimina paveka as independent. But statecraft, there will be no time to negotiate, no time to moving, and they even crafted the time. They even looked about the distance. Uyumuntunga takampele certificate takakwanisho kuyafika certain place for the nomination. It was crafted in the way that they wanted to have a certain number of constituencies to go and oppose ARE scheme of UPND. But now we have people like Isaac Mwanza. For the first time, we have an activist who called himself for good governance. He went now to court to make sure that those people who are maybe trying to go as an independent, their nomination was nullified. Last last election in 2021, we had almost 14 independent MP. But this time, if you check, it was so crafted. Together with the Alice and others, so that maybe they will use Imingarato in the court of law, so that these independent MPs who came from UPND, if you look even the national chairperson for UPND was talking about no independent MP from UPND. So it was crafted. But if you have Alesa, shaenda fimbi na yaenda koti yakitwala mufimbi. When the law said it's 2 months before the date of election, when awale mulakwati ni 2 months before the date of nomination, lesa na enala bika poechi lafya aba lafya shaenda mumbi eno chimbi wa mwamba before I go teti filachila asuka pali learning mate takwa wafilia. You says when the President Kalaba win an election and the Moses Mawela let's try campaign wa blind mundubile no kulanda taka learning mate in the governance system of the country. That's why ichichalo echituko serious nephew tulechita kibula fye chalo kustola pama sansa kuchangasha tukasho mulilo echichalo na abana besu bakachulila mu bamwambaye. Thank you
very much. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Okay, this is
From Dada. Ambassador, I also want to add a word to the prevailing issues in the country. First of all, I'm very much disappointed with our head of state, the way he handled the issue of Iris Kaingu. That one, from the way I heard her speak, it is a tip of an iceberg of things that have been happening. When people have been saying, these people have been trying to buy people, to force people to withdraw their candidature for the upcoming elections. They've been denying. But that is the gospel truth now. Now we know that these people, they are ahead of all the withdrawals of these people. But the problem that I have is, what is their motivation of making other people withdraw? Because every person who wants to participate in politics has got the constitutional right to represent these people at the council level, MP level, national level, presidential level. But what is the motivation of these people telling others to withdraw? What is so special about those people whom they are creating space for? What is so special? Everyone wants to become an MP. Everyone wants to be called an honorable member of parliament or president. What is so special? We know that UPND have been doing certain things where they just want certain people to be in offices across the country. They want certain people, which is very wrong. And come this 13th August, these people who have been forced on the people everywhere across the country must be rejected. People should vote for people whom they think will represent them more than, like Irish said that her candidature is not for sale. That girl is very brilliant, and we should congratulate her for the stand she has taken. It's very unusual that when the president calls you, you can reject the offer. That one is a leader. That lady is a leader, and she must be commended for the responsibility that she has shown for the people of Mwandi. And I plead for the people of Mwandi to wipe her tears by voting for her in numbers and shame the critics. Coming to the issue of vote, this issue. There is this issue, Ambassador, that bothers me about UPND. UPND have created narratives where they want us to believe wrong things. They want us to believe that the only corruption which is bad is the PF corruption. Their corruption is not bad. The Gaddarism that you are seeing, the violence that we are seeing, is not violence. The violence is the one that was in PF. The safety and all these things that are happening now is nothing to them. What they just talk about is what happened in the past. I don't know what kind of reasoning, Ambassador, is that, and what type of a person or individuals are these people who just wants to see wrong things, and they also want to just talk about the bad things that happened a long time ago. And the one thing that worries me is the way the president talks about things with a passion, things that happened a long time ago. They incarcerated me. They kept me this. There are people in this country, Ambassador, that died for independence. We have never heard of their relatives talking about it. They died for the independence. There are also cadres that are saying HH is not going anywhere. He suffered in the opposition. I repeat this word. He suffered in the opposition because he was looking for, he was trying to get something at the end of the day. And that does not allow him to be president forever, even after he has failed to deliver. So I think these are my few deliberations, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Ambassador, good evening.
Mtale, make your contribution.
I just want to recommend, I know other people have done so, recommend the Irish Kaingu in the manner the way she has exhibited herself. You are able to see two leaders. There are two people here. The other one is a dictator, the other one is a boss, and the other one is a leader. For her to refuse that level of high corruption, everybody has to say she did a good job. I know Kalingu in a different way, but I didn't know this part. And may God bless her for coming out like that. Secondly, I want to address the issues of what Wamanza had mentioned. Wamanza, if you are hearing or listening to my comment, to my opinion, Mr. Manza, in Zambia there is no judiciary, and you have your own reasons that you are trying to. I was listening to you very, very carefully, even when you was trying to say corruption, the opposition leaders, once they engage those people, it's corruption because they promised them that they'll be given everything. I think that's corruption, is engagement. But what happened before, now what happened after somebody has notified him the nomination and the head of state is calling that person, that is corruption. So, second, this time around, Wamanza, there is no judiciary in Zambia. Look at how they manipulated the issue to do with PF. Look at how they were taken to and from. The Zambian people rushed to court with a view that, or rather patriotic fans rushed to court with a view that they will find justice. But to the contrary, the case of ECL is a case that we can look at and talk to. So you can tell that there's no justice in the Republic of Zambia today. The courts have turned into kangaroo courts. So I don't know what you are referring to, that the courts, they have done a good job on this issue of running mate. The issue of running mate is a cookie and the project for the government. If it was Makepe Zulu who resigned, trust me, Munduvire could have been suspended. This whole issue was cooked and centered on Munduvire. If Makepe resigned, Munduvire could have been suspended. So the ruling is not fair, and is not fair for the interest of the Zambian people. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Hello, I think Wamunkonga. Wamunkonga, good. Hello, Wamunkonga, good evening.
Okay, good evening.
Nachmona Mulelanda, you were not online. Quickly summarize what you wanted to say.
Okay, Ambassador. Na totera nomba vote protection wa Ambassador. Nishile for checks and balances. Ama days na ya katurande nishile ya kusema protect ama votes nangu checks and balances in 2 weeks. Kapari oka yara tuara. Sentrande pama votes. Yo to still protect. Tuara station. Chisuma Ambassador.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution. Hello, good evening. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
I would love to go anonymous.
Anonymous, make your contribution.
Also, I have a few questions for our current president. One of the questions that I would love to ask is that he stood in front of the whole campaign and talked about Garen Kombo having to get commissions from the people that he was giving contracts. Is he trying to tell us that he was aware of all this corruption going on and he didn't bring him to books? So he's supporting fugitives in his party? Those are the questions that I think the president should come clear and explain to us. Because if he knew about it and he explained that he has called Garen one day, why didn't he call the APC? Another question that I would also love to ask is that he mentioned that he doesn't want these people to be mentioned in his campaigns, but he has continuously mentioned them in his campaigns. So far, he has not campaigned. He has only talked ill about his opponent. Why is it so? Another question that I would love to ask is that why does he call his opponent as boys? I believe he's an elder and he's a husband, same as those people, their husband and their fathers to other children. Why does he call them boys? If they turn out to call him boys, how would he feel? As far as we are concerned, he's not campaigning, he's fighting. And then he's fighting, he's louder. His language is not appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bakalonde, is this still here? Let's see how we can quickly go to him and we begin to wind up. Honorable Professor Kalonde, thank you. You are listening to the comments and to the callers. Just respond to that and give your closing remarks.
I have a lot to look at, actually. I've been writing what people have been saying.
Oh, wonderful. And, the professor you are.
Yeah.
Let me give you time.
The first thing that I want to talk about is the issue of Iris Kaingo. I want people to be reminded of how HH as president, I don't know about his private life, I've never known him in his private life, how he treated the other women. I'll give an example of how he treated Nawakwi. Nawakwi, even in a deathbed, he had to send, trying to go and find out. We heard from Ubanda about how Nawakwi was treated and how they wanted to even prosecute or even hold a court in her bedroom until Nawakwi died, left us, and may her soul rest in peace. I want also people to look at how HH also treated or spoke about another lady, the mother to Garin Kombo. To me, it's trying to show a pattern of how this man treats women and how he regards women in his life, those that are not his wife. I don't know about his wife and how he treats her. That is not my purview. I cannot go into that. But I'm going to look at, I want people to understand how he treated Garin Kombo's mother. Look at how he treated Mumbipiri. Mumbipiri went to prison for a case she never committed. That is not right. And a pattern is trying to build up there in this person's mind about women that are not part of his relationship or friendship. Look at how he treated Mama Esther Lungu and the family on the death of her husband, the respected former president, Edgar Chagwa Lungu. And consequently, we saw, even in mourning, how he treated Tasila Lungu. And Tasila Lungu lost her seat because kuli bode yaba wishi. Anybody who akwatafya mano muntu ntulufyo muntu. Tetinshe bode yaba tata na ya parliament ati yona ya kunchito mayoshare na bode yaba tata. Tachipanga sense chona ngupano. And at that point, to be honest with you, the speaker also erred. She should have understood the situation that the young lady was going through and what she was dealing with. Let's look at how he treated another woman. This is the Luapula member of parliament, the young lady from Luapula province. I've forgotten her name. And to me, that shows hate for women. And Kaingu is just a victim of...
Jean Chisenga.
Yes, exactly.
For Mambilima.
Exactly, Natasha. Now, that said, I'll touch on the injustices that we've observed since he came into office. We don't know if he has been angry with the time he spent in Mukoweko after committing a crime, because what he did, Ambassador, the roadside problem now, President Lungu, that one was treason. That was a crime. Takwaba umuntu uchita impede traffic ya presidential motorcade. Takwaba nangula yumfabuka peta. Nangula Mike Tyson tefio. So now let's look at the injustices that he has come to meet on the people that he found in the previous government. Look at Chilango, look at Totila, look at Munia Zulu, look at Kambwiri himself. Lost 2 brothers going to court in Kasama to a case that was supposed to be not a case. But Chilango Kambwiri lost his 2 brothers. May their souls rest in peace. I want to remind, before I leave, I want to remind the people of Zambia that nalishwa kuzanira mwali wako sometimes ichilafi. Mwilabo kutila ati mwe bantu mwadela lo mwafita. Abana okustada, kati shinofu bale stada for 4 years. It is difficult to live that life that Zambians experienced for 4.5 years. Nomba kusayipusha ati bakanona abalepo kendala mashiria. As a private corporation, ndalama bale twala kwi. Because we know that as a private corporation, they have no obligation to give money to the government apart from paying their taxes. So shirenda mabale shtisha malaiti abazesko ya dabale shtisha kufyalo kumbi. Awe tashaka moneke limbi, nga shamoneka nishi kwena ni through the courts. Ofo ninga tonton kanyaini. Lastly, I just want to also remind you Zambians that alakopa taimena nga chibwabwa mwafumiapo mwayabula mwichupushira mafunya mwisege futi mwabiala ilakopa tulelusa every day going on that road. Go and stop at Kaflafuta Weighbridge and see how much minerals we are losing in Zambia. I'm telling you, you will cry. And when those minerals are gone, we're supposed to have a 50, 75-year plan for those minerals. We can't just be digging and taking them. And where the copper is going, I can tell you they are not using it right away. They are stockpiling as their reserves. Why can't you please also have your own reserves? You have the natural reserve underground. Leave it where it is. It's not every copper that you have to dig. It's not every mineral that you have to dig and give away to other countries to go and reserve in their countries. Then when you are finished, you have nowhere to go to buy your own copper because you won't afford it by that time. Please, Zambians, think about this and realize that this is your copper, these are your minerals, you need them in the future. The world has changed. It's all going electronic and electricity. And they will need copper every day. And if you give it away, awe mukayoyomba. Epo mpereba mwamba natasha sana kuwa kuchira kutika. And I'm happy that I had this opportunity to contribute my 2 cents to this conversation that is taking place in our country. And yes, Mwamba Machishako Pamo, on the introduction, politics Nadia Konka, I was the first Copper Belt Youth Chairman for MMD, and that's how I decided instead of going into work for the government, I was working as a government employee, but I decided that I go to come to the US for studies, and ended up with this professor job, which I don't even call myself. I just call myself Kalonde because ilani title chimono muntu mule makumanya wa mwamba ti journalist mwamba tefpanga sense
Nimwa professor, and we continue to respect you. Thank you so much for joining. You'll be a regular face during this critical period. There's a caller who's been calling and calling. Although I'm closing, I can listen to them. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from. I am closing, but you've been very persistent. Maybe let's hear your views.
Thank you so much, Ambassador. This is Patrick calling from England.
Patrick from England, make your contribution.
Like I said, I've persistently called you because I really wanted to add a word on what Comrade Isaac Mwanza, the issues that he raised, then also the issue about Iris's response to the president, and also what the professor has elaborated he has given a very good account about how President Hichilema has been very vindictive towards women. And there's a point that I was interested in when he said that, I may not say something about the Vamushinda, meaning the president's wife, because I don't know, I'm not privy. But I just want to give a little story. The Professor Nkanduruo, I think she had such an encounter with the head of state at his house, where, according to the professor, I think she has a very good, very sad story about how this man could even treat his own wife at his own house. And that's where our professor said, from that time onwards, I told myself, never in my entire life I would ever want to work with this particular man. Coming to Isaac Mwanza. Isaac Mwanza, when you asked him the first question, when he talked about the issues to do with the political violence that is going on in this country, he used the term sporadic or pocket of violence. But Mr. Mwambayo and I have seen what is happening across the country, and that is not something that you can say this is a space of violence, sporadic cases. We have had the cases that are very huge, that need the president to condemn them, and he has never in his entire speeches, through the campaign that he has held, condemned not even one of the political violence, apart from attacking his opponent. And then coming to Iris, the girl may have some past which everyone has, but looking at the magnitude of the situation, look, this is a president who calls me to say, drop. You have to you have to pull out of this race, and I'm going to do this and this and this and this and this for you. Definitely, if it was an excited child, that's the point of campaign. She'll go and tell them to say, look, me, the president, called me that I should drop to leave space for this person. But because I've got an agenda that I want to go on and implement for the people of Mwandi, that's why I've come on and I've said no to the president. It was Iris who was supposed to come out first before the president himself come to the podium to expose himself. That's proper corruption. And Mr. Mwanda said that is not corruption. It has been building up. How many people have been offered money? How many audios are there for people who have been offered money to pull out of there so that they can give advantage to others? People are prepared for 5 years to come and contest this election, and all of a sudden, in the last minute, someone comes and drops out to give someone to go and oppose. Does that make sense in a democratic state? And then someone also, I think it's the professor who asked that, is the president ready to give up power? Mr. Mwamba, you and I'm a journalist by profession, and I've worked in journalism in Zambia for a long time. And I've got friends both from the UPND and from the PF. This man has vowed not to give up power that easily. And he has been saying it to his confidence to say, you think I can be in opposition for that long to come and give up power so easily after 5 years? So that's why people are talking about vote protection. We need to beat this guy through an outright win with a landslide, a very huge margin. If it is something that you're going to do like trying 50 plus 51 to this and that, it will be very difficult because the man has vowed not to give up power so easily in an instance that he is beaten with a margin that is not much convincing. Thank you so much, Ambassador.
Now you have provoked Isaac Mwanza. I see he's calling. Let's hear him quickly. My dear brother Isaac, there were a lot of questions to you. Maybe you can use the opportunity to do your own roundup. It's a pity you haven't connected by video, but the phone call would do.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I want to thank everybody who has made comments and asked questions. My point is still the same, that violence must never be tolerated wherever and whenever it happens. And my description of the violence that we are seeing now, the pockets of violence that we are seeing, is purely in comparison to where we are coming from. We had violence, and this is not just to say it's about this political part or this. It's been a legacy issue for this country. Yes, there's violence, and I'm not endorsing any violent activities that are happening, but let's call a spade a spade. There are pockets of violence which have happened in this country, and we as civil society have condemned it. And when it comes to politics, I believe that there should be no...
Isaac, the choice of your words, when you use pocket or sporadic, while the viewers feel that the violence is actually widespread. So the choice of words is where you are differing. You are using conservative term, sporadic or, sporadic or isolated or pockets. I think that was where the contention is.
What we are seeing what we are seeing, we have seen violence before, Wamwamba, and all the callers. We have seen real violence taking place in this country. And all I'm saying is that there is violence that is going on.
The loss, Isaac, the loss of 5 lives in 2 months, isn't that a matter of serious concern? We saw in the
very clearly.
We saw the death of Banda in a by-election, but the president.
We must condemn.
Okay.
We must condemn the violence that happens. We must condemn the death. And I've said it that in politics, nobody must die because of politics, because of trying to support a particular candidate, whether they're in the opposition or the ruling party. Every life matters. All I'm saying is that the incidences of violence that we're witnessing cannot be compared to where we are coming from. There has been the real violence that we have seen in this country.
Okay, Isaac,
and by saying that, I'm not endorsing the violence that is taking place.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that clarification.
Yes.
Any other matter?
Just to say, I think I believe in you. I believe in what you are doing, Wamwamba. Dogmatism in politics is not a good thing. I love the fact that you're able to give people a chance to express themselves, hear divergent viewpoints. There are people who are dogmatic about politics, like Zephaniah and the others. You hear them speak. They believe that their ideas are the only gospel truth in politics. It shouldn't be like that. Politics is about the differences in opinion, and we must respect each other's differences in opinion. So for me, I believe this is very healthy with your program, and we must continue to ensure that it remains balanced and the views on both sides must be heard. When it comes to bribing of candidates and all that, yes, there, Wamwamba, we have disagreed. And I maintain the position that what the president did is what everybody is doing. The president did not cause the running mates to resign and join the fellow opposition political parties. No, the president did not cause the presidential candidate to resign. These are things that are traded in politics, unless we have forgotten what politics is about.
Oh no, I think there, Isaac, what I expected you is to condemn a wrong. It doesn't matter whether it's being practiced by President Hakainde Hichilema or the opposition. I think a wrong must be identified as a wrong.
Why would we call it even a wrong? Why would you call it a wrong when you are inviting somebody to say, look, come and join hands with me? You see the confusion that is happening, and I don't want to beat about the bush. Where I'm voting from, you have a Tonse candidate, and you have 2 candidates belonging to the same faction. Another one standing on another ticket, another one standing on another ticket. And both are saying we are supporting Munduwire. That is dividing of the vote. What the president was merely doing was to say, let's not divide the votes. What Brian Munduwire and the colleagues are doing by saying, come and join hands with us, we may offer you anything in our government.
Isaac, just a minute before I let you go. Again, yes. That example is a bit anomalous. The case of Gary Nkombo and Iris Kaingu, they are no longer members of the UPND. They resigned. From the evidence, the president spoke to Iris after she had already filed, after she had already resigned. The president had no right to call an independent candidate. In the case of Resolute Party and NRPUP, they are both reigning in their political parties. None of them have resigned. I think they are the cause should be.
Wamwamba, you have a candidate who has resigned from the opposition political party to join another political party. These were running mates of another political party. They went to join another political party. These are trade-offs that we are seeing in politics. You can't say that it was wrong for Andy Ford Banda to leave this and join the other one, even if they have been told to say, we will still accommodate you, we will accommodate your needs when you join us.
That is what is happening in politics. It can't be called corruption. It can't be called a wrong. That is how you win the politics.
No. So what I would do is, let's find time. I can see the phones are buzzing. People want to come in. You've provoked a fresh debate. So I think we need to come and discuss the various issues, the various elements. You know, the examples you are giving, for example, candidates resigning from Socialist Party and saying we don't want to divide our vote. It's likely that Brian Mundubile will win, so they are going to Mundubile. And the case of the president, in my view, bribing independents, you are saying it's a trade-off. So I think it needs a very consolidated, it needs a consolidated debate where we isolate all the threads.
Why would we not assume that even the opposition leaders are asking these candidates to join them with an offer on the table that when you join us, we don't want to divide the vote? Those things happen. These are trade-offs that are happening in politics.
Wonderful. We already have a theme of the...
Bribes are a bribe. We must condemn bribery.
No, we already have a theme of the topic. Are they trade-offs or is it corruption? So make a date. We're going to discuss. And all those people that have begun to call, I'm so sorry. I have to, I have to go and will not reopen this can of worm that Isaac has reopened. We'll give it time, maybe tomorrow. So God bless you. Thank you, Isaac, and thank you for coming. And thank you for continuing to honor my request every time I make it. Thank you, Isaac. That was Isaac Mwanza trying to come and respond, and my phones are buzzing once again. We have closed. Double shift, we have closed. I'm so sorry, I will not take the calls. Thank you. So today we're discussing the developments from the Court, from the Constitutional Court, regarding independent candidates and regarding the matters for running mates. The Constitutional Court have delivered major judgments. The petitioner in both cases was Isaac Mwanza, was associated with it. And that is why Isaac Mwanza came to give that expert view. Your opinion about him may differ. His political persuasions, he may not support the opposition, but he is a petitioner in a matter in court. And there was no better person other than him to come and explain the outcome of the matters in court. For all those calling again, I apologize. We have closed. Thank you very much, and God bless you. We may not have the breakfast show tomorrow and Sunday, but we'll be back on Monday as we continue to count down. But we may have the evening program. So God bless you, and shalom, shalom. And to Dr. Kalonde, thank you so much, Professor, for coming to join us. God bless you.
Why we feel that we are hated even when we are not? We feel sorry for ourselves. We feel sorry for being Tonga. Mevo, my father and my mother, I did all my education in Monze. But there's one thing that I have seen. When it is time for voting, the kind of message that is given to us, the voters, or the kind of message that is given to us, the people, it is not the message that unites the country. And it is high time the people of Southern Province realized and vote together with the whole nation, like the whole nation did in 2021. Host, I'm sorry. I want to use Tonga, and I'm not sorry for being Tonga because that is the only language I have known as a kid. So thank you. Mistake. Direct. You know what? You are not hated by anyone. If only muzondedwa muntu ngwe munya uzwa area yenu komunya ko muzwa ngomuntu muzonded. Edgar Lungu wagabola mu 2029 kumonze where katuli kumonze where. What did he do? He gave land. What did HH do? He got that land, and under Chief Chona, he gave that land and said build a church. What did they do? His HH said no. Once we come in power, we are going to get that land back. We want to build a stadium, not a church. Chief Chona area. ZCA after ZCA there. What message is coming to the people? No bakumonze mwaguti mundizuye mu power mwainka kurusaka bani kumuma makambo lyonse bakali kumuma mwainka kurusaka mebo kuzwako monze kwenda komenena ndainka kurusaka. I did my college at University of Zambia. Ndainka kurusaka where my station was Intercity. bus terminals. We know wali kunduma na bambola chitonga freely. No one was beating me. We know wali kutuma. But today people are believing that Tongas were being beaten in Lusaka because it is coming from the top office, which is wrong. We can talk about free education, we can talk about building, we can talk about infrastructure, we can talk about anything, but for as long as we are divided, we do not have a country to call country again. 2021, why we were able to remove a government is because the whole country came together. There was no one who spoke of a tongue. There was no one who said, I am Luvale, I am Kaonde, I am Lozi, I am Bemba, I am Tonga, I'm not going to vote for HH. The country said we need change, and we went there to vote, and we brought the change we wanted. But is this the change that he promised us? No, it's not. We made that mistake, and we ought not to make this mistake yet again. Because it will not be mistake now. When we do this, it will be stupidity as a country because we don't know what we want. Then we don't know. We are no longer patriots at the end of it all. So we don't need to make this mistake again. I am calling out my southern province. No one will beat you anywhere. I was very saddened. 3 days ago, I was talking to my cousin. I called my cousin. I was like, brother, mbutogo, mwenye deputy change. Urambati, mama, mudala usebo gunotao. Kambo ya kutichwa tuandabe uzi, hagainda kare mwofesi kambo mudala gumu watu wagatala. That man has never traveled. He has never, I know my cousin has never left Monze to go to Lusaka. He has never traveled.
Hakainde watondeka nadi, 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 hakainde watondeka nadi. Hakainde watitonda nadi, nchito ni kuyoboya waka, vila izgo vyose vya waka waka, kusuzgika kwa kura mwe bantu mwe, nadi nadi. Hakainde watondeka nadi, watondeka, 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 hakainde watondeka nadi, watondeka. Wakati walina mahala, tono mahala yalinkulelo, tengo wofu wakwera muchanya sono, bakabu bakulira chitima bo, nadi nadi, nadi nadi, hakainde watondeka nadi, watondeka, 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 hakainde watondeka nadi, watondeka. Tiletelani nyali kuno kukaya, alundazi box one kanele, Inde na munyake makebibiza na mama Abrenda Nyirenda Simbi za Jelemani. Haka inde